Hey everybody, what is going on? I am Maximus Rex and this is Big Baby Reviews. Today is Dale Keown Day, so we are looking at the next issue in his Incredible Hulk run. That is issue 372, cover dated August 1990. Before we get to this issue, do want to mention we are on the road to 250 subs. There will be a special video once we hit that magical number in the coming weeks, as I record these videos a little bit ahead of time. But please stay tuned for that, and encourage your friends, encourage your neighbors to like and subscribe the channel, the videos, obviously if it's the kind of content that you're interested in. I was, taking a quick look at my analytics. This is a humble channel. I'm very happy to have at least, over 100 subs as of today. We're at like 147, something like that. Looking at the analytics, 89% of my views are from people who are not subscribed, which is insane to me, first of all, and that's all these people are watching who are not subscribed. So obviously, if you did that, that would greatly help me in the channel. So feel free to do so if you're so inclined. And right now, basically the subs represent 11% of my viewership, apparently. So if I could get, even half of that other 89%, that would be awesome. So, please let everyone know. Continuing on then, after that cheap plug with the Incredible Hulk 372, once again, this is Dale Keown kind of held back, reined in a little bit is how I would describe it. The cover is super awesome. Nothing bad to say about that. I think this looks great. It's a good, classic Dale Keown shot of the Hulk. That slightly kind of cartoony look that really, eventually works really well in the late 80s, early 90s kind of style. But from what you'll see in the content of the actual comic, I still prefer what he was doing at Dragon Ring compared to this early Hulk stuff. It's still, he's got the house inker, Bob McLeod, no offense to him, but that's why he's there, to kind of keep that Marvel house style going. Later on, he'll be inked by Mark Farmer, which I think is a better fit inking wise on Dale Keown, and I'm pretty sure I'm not remembering this wrong. Near the end of his Hulk run, there's actually a few issues where Dale Keown inks himself, which will be interesting to look at and to compare along the way, as well as just basic storytelling and layouts, composition, because again, this is a pretty with the content inside, a pretty pedestrian kind of issue. Again, I talked on a past episode about the kind of edicts that Jim Shooter was putting out there with the mid shots, establishing shots, clear storytelling, which in and of themselves are not bad. But by the end of the 80s, it kind of become the house style at Marvel. And Dale Keown is an example of an artist who started under that. Todd McFarlane did it as well, Rob Liefeld, and they slowly pushed their artwork to more extremes and, more detail, bigger panel layouts, less panels, basically, kind of moving towards that image kind of comic layout. But that's kind of where their art got interesting as well. When it comes to these early issues of the Hulk, though, I as much as I love Dale Keown, I find these are the hardest to get through. It really, to me, harkens back to that early mid 80s kind of storytelling style that, as clear as it is and as easy it is to follow, I will compliment it on that aspect. It's very clearly delineated with the actions and what's going on. Not a problem understanding the story, just kind of a pedestrian story. And this issue in particular is kind of that. So not starting on a huge downer, unfortunately. But so I guess not spending too much time on that. We're going to crack her open and have a look. And basically I'll show you what I'm talking about. So continuing on from last issue, where we've got this speeding vessel that kind of reminded me of I think I mentioned The Last Starfighter. There was a gag in the last issue referring to that. So once again, our creative team: Peter David writer, Dale Keown penciler, Bob McLeod inker, Joe Rosen letterer, and Glynis Oliver is the colorist. Not a bad intro splash page. Pretty interesting. Pretty Kirby-esque, I guess is how I describe this. This feels like Dale Keown doing a bit of a Kirby riff. Looks cool. And that's kind of where it ends. So again, I have nothing against this kind of, layout with multi-panels and stuff. Again, you get the cinematic layout here, which is fun. Setting of the scene. The action is clear, easy to read, but just very, again, the term I'll use is pedestrian to me. This is not Dale Keown, super jazzed to be drawing all this stuff, at the drawing table. I feel like this is just, it's a job. It's a corporate job at this point when you're doing these kinds of, I guess, writer driven stories. There's going to be a lot more panels and a lot more dialogue. And as I've said before, I'm not necessarily talking about the image style of low dialogue or no dialogue in comics, but there is something to be said about being succinct with your dialogue and letting the images talk more, not having to add in dialogue to explain what's going on. Not that I necessarily think that's what's going on here, but this is honestly, apart from the art and the fact that it's Dale Keown, just very unappealing to me. I'm not even really interested in knowing what's going on. But we'll look at some of the storytelling. See the cars, like, not bad here. Kind of get a little toyetic here. And then, I mean, not a lot of time spent on this one here. I feel maybe the inker did most of the work here. And I guess this is another good issue to point out how John Byrne-esque Dale Keown is at this period. I mean, he always draws lovely ladies, but they are kind of based, I feel like this is a very Byrne kind of lady face, if I can put it that way. And even his male gentleman here, which is Bruce Banner, obviously, kind of right out of the John Byrne mold, right? And there's just, it's such a slog to get through with all this, you know, story and dialogue. Not a good first issue if you're trying to get interested in the Incredible Hulk. There's a few moments near the end that are, you know, a little more explosive and visually appealing. Again, nothing wrong with the art. Dale Keown does a great job. Just boring. So, to be honest, like all these pages here, I'm just going to skip through most of it. Once again, we get a depiction of a car here. Very well done. And then it kind of just trails off a little bit as we move ahead. But, you know, maybe he's got reference for this, maybe not so much for this, or not such a great reference picture. And then we see our famous kind of speeding car here. But funnily enough, in the rearview mirror here, we don't get that same impression of speed that we were getting from the first page, right? Like to me, it's kind of funny where it seems like it's plodding along rather than just, you know, unless that's intended somehow. Yeah, no, see, certainly seems to be kicking up a storm here. Even this, you know, Dale Keown makes some effort here, tilting the horizon line to try to make this, you know, a little more interesting. And yeah, just this mystery vehicle that's entrapping Bruce Banner here in some sort of plastic bag with the pun, the obvious pun. This one's in the bag. Pretty on the nose there, Peter David. Now there's, I don't know why this, I really like this panel, but I feel like there's some sort of exaggerated, you know, distorted effect, and I'm not quite sure why. Like some of this, maybe it's hints at the Hulk transformation. You know, on the page here, his face is a little stretched out, which you know, my body, what's happening, you know? So the transformations maybe already started a little bit here, and his face is kind of starting to stretch out, and you're getting the Hulk saliva here on this panel, which totally works. It's just a little odd to me here inside the bag. Is the bag somehow creating that distortion? I'm not sure what the idea was there, but still kind of a fun, interesting panel in a pretty, again, boring issue overall. Some great Dale Keown facial expressions, though. He's super killer on those, right? But again, I think I mentioned at the level of drawing, I mean, until we get to the Hulk, I think I prefer the Dragon Ring stuff. It's just more exciting, more interesting than what we're getting here. Other than, of course, the build-up here, this page. I like, here the use of multiple panels I think is great because not so much dialogue, the action's a bit quicker, right? You're kind of setting a rhythm to what's going on with your panel layout. Kind of like playing drums, you know? Playing some sort of crazy fill before you go into the chorus. If anyone plays music, you know what I'm talking about. And then finally, thank God, we get at least one money shot in this issue, right? And even the mine here, I think, is pretty cool. You know, just enough information. Obviously, that's what he's saying, mine. I don't think he's saying Mimph, although that would be hilarious. But this is just a great Hulk money shot. I feel like Dale Keown probably spent a bit more time penciling and feathering and adding in the details that he wants, even though it's been cleaned up, in quotes, or rounded off, however you want to put it, by the inker. This is starting to look like some pretty authentic Dale Keown. And I do appreciate there's a bit of screen tone here for the shadow. Some of the background as well has been used, you know, on the newsprint here that absorbs the black a little bit. You know, it's always done that. I think this just, there's something cool and, you know, slightly vintagey maybe to this. Like this would make a super amazing poster, right? I'd be more than proud to put that up on my wall. And I mean, Dale Keown's you know, as we go along, we'll see more and more of these. I call them the iconic Hulk shots because I think he's one of the best to have done it, right? There's a few Hulk artists that are kind of regarded that way. Dale Keown is definitely in there, in and around some of those Hulk movie marketing campaigns. A lot of the licensed artwork was Dale Keown doing the Hulk. So, I mean, there's a reason for that. And even today, I mean, it's even more, I guess his style is a little less cartoony, still is, but like maybe more illustrative. Probably has more time to do that kind of artwork as well, so it looks really good. And you know, I don't even think it was inked. I think it was just from pencil straight to kind of colors and stuff. But some impressive work on that Hulk movie marketing. Great Hulk face right here. See, this is what I mean. Like you can have a fair amount of panels, but this obviously it's an action sequence that helps a lot. But like just these little differences in the layout make all the differences when you're reading. You know what I mean? I'm not quite sure if you're supposed to go like this, like this, like this, like this, and then down in the reading direction, or if you're supposed to go left, right, nah. But maybe the way it's conceived here, it doesn't really matter. I guess he shoots here and then he hits him there. You know, I could imagine that he starts shooting him here and he's still shooting him here while he's moving forward. So this is a cool instance of a page where, you know, the reading order can change. And I feel like you're pretty much getting the same sense of what's going on in the story. Yeah, that's very interesting there. So Hulk gets shot by, I'm not quite sure what, okay, so it's the cannon on top. I gotcha. It's a little confusing here because we don't have the rest of the car. A little of an odd choice there maybe, but I guess because we saw it there, I should have just paid more attention to that. And lots of Kirby crackle, right? Which is always awesome. And I feel like whoever was inking was using some sort of stencil because those are pretty, not everywhere. You're probably working fairly fast, but those are really, really regular circles. That's a cool shot. You know, at the size of the Hulk, you know, just enough detail, lifting up some of the road or the mountain there. Very cool. So here's some other cool moments. I thought this was awesome with the Hulk getting shocked here. Very well done with the inner kind of silhouette shading here. Very cool. That's great right there. Some of this reminds me, I don't know, I was getting a vibe kind of from like the Hulk TV show back in the day, late 70s, early 80s. Like if it had just a slightly higher budget, like some of this stuff could have happened, you know? Like the 70s with the, you know, even early 80s, like a Knight Rider kind of thing, you know, Cars and the Hulk all mixed into one kind of episode. That could have been cool. Maybe there is an episode like that and I'm just kind of subconsciously remembering that, right? It feels like within the production values of the Hulk TV show, if you could, you know, have the Hulk fighting cars or some sort of armored gang of cars, that could have worked. That could have worked. That could have been a great episode. This is kind of an iconic shot. I think I remember seeing this as a kid in Wizard magazine, right? And again, because it's a close-up, we're getting more detail, so I feel like we're getting a little bit more of the Dale Keown here. And what we're starting to see is what will culminate in a few more issues of, you know, all the different kind of versions of the Hulk merging together into one. So you're getting, you know, Bruce Banner, you're getting the Green Hulk, and you're getting the Gray Hulk, and they're all kind of arguing a little bit within the Hulk's psyche, within his head, you know? This is kind of weird. Just to me, this shot, I get like what's supposed to be happening in the story and stuff, but to me, I don't want to get weird, but it just feels like the car's straddling the Hulk or something, or trying to like sexually assault the Hulk. Kind of a weird shot there. This sequence is pretty cool. Very John Byrne-esque, I think, in the storytelling. Once again, this would be another example, you know, of the kind of stuff you'd see John Byrne do, the way he would lay out the storytelling, the mid shots. Classic kind of 80s storytelling, 80s Marvel storytelling. So here's one thing, yeah, because it's the last page, not this one, but once I turn. So it's always funny to me, you know, the classic line, puny Banner, right? Like the Hulk refers to Banner as puny Banner. Well, you know, they're even drawing, like, this is something I think, I don't know, if you're doing this as an artist, especially with the Hulk, you would want to play the dynamics and the opposites as much as possible. And this idea of puny Banner, like, this is not puny Banner. Banner's in pretty goddamn good shape here. He's in, I wouldn't say maybe Captain America level, but certainly Spider-Man level of physique here. And, you know, I really noticed it as I was going through this issue earlier, just to review, you know, before shooting the video, like how You know, this guy's like definitely not a puny scientist as we've been kind of conditioned to remember him as that icon. I mean, he's, you know, quite an accomplished athletic fellow here. So just kind of, to me, in the storytelling, that's something that should have been downplayed. Banner should always, I'm not saying he has to be absolutely puny and skinny and frail, but you know, have kind of just a slender body type, if I can describe it that way. There's just something about this that just, you know, that old adage of superhero artists who can't draw anything but superhero physiques. I don't think Dale Keane in any way cannot draw a more slender, kind of skinnier version of the male physique. He can draw kids really well. You'd see that in Pit with Timmy, one of the main characters. I've always thought Dale Keane has just a really good sense of how to draw kids, how to make them different from adults, right? The proportions, where the face will lie on the skull is a little bit different, right? And so I don't see why he's not doing that here, unless maybe he's, you know, there's some sort of storyline reason for it, but I'm not aware of anything in particular that would explain Banner having, you know, even on this one, I would argue on this page, it is a Captain America physique, you know, super athlete kind of physique, and just kind of doesn't ring true for puny Banner. I want puny Banner, at least compared to the Hulk, right? Play with those opposites, especially when you have a character like the Hulk. So there you have it. That's the review of the Incredible Hulk 372. Again, on the road to 250 subs. Special video will be put out once we hit that. So I do encourage you all out there, if you're watching and you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Hit like as well. That helps us out with the algorithms and anything else that can push the channel so we can grow a little bit more every day. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, everybody.
Like, subscribe, like, subscribe.
King Comics presents Big Baby, Volume 1, Issues 1 to 13, 204 pages of story and art. King Comics also presents Star Crasher one-shot, 32 pages, cosmic sci-fi surrealist adventure. You can find these fine comics at KingComics.CA, at MaximusRex13 on Instagram, or on Facebook, MaxRex or Big Baby.